So, welcome to MS Warrior Podcast. This is episode 10. So, this is way after HSCT.
Yeah.
So, HSCT was January, February of this year.
Wow.
So, I'm just recovering now.
Good Lord. So you should be resting still.
Yeah. It's going quite well. I mean,
yeah.
I was a bit concerned, because I had the full effect of the roller coaster, so I wasn't sure what to expect. So
yeah, I think it's so different for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's the same thing, which I've been hearing a lot about lately as well, which is whether HSCT does work for people, and in a lot of cases it doesn't. So.
Yeah. I had so many people contact me and say, "Oh, I need to, look, my daughter's 14. She's just been diagnosed. Does she need to do that route?" And I'm like,
really?
The first thing I say is, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Everything that I say is just my experience, is my opinion. And I said it's really different because every single person's body's different.
Absolutely.
So, and that's what I'm saying. I say constantly because I don't want people to go, "Oh, that's going to be brilliant for me." So I wouldn't be able to live with myself if someone.
Well, everybody is different, so you can't say, "Oh, it's going to work for you 100%," because you don't know.
No, exactly. And that's the big thing I say to everyone is like, I can't guarantee. I don't know. It's a guesswork, but I think a lot of it is with anything. It's psychological. I do honestly believe if you're not strong enough, but if your mind's in a good place.
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. You have to be 100% committed. This is going to work for me.
Whatever it is, HSCT or if it's
so for me, it was. I've been in so many DMTs, DMDs, whichever one you call it.
Which ones did you have before?
Sorry.
Which ones were you on?
Oh, it was just Ocrevus. So,
okay, That's
I was diagnosed in 2014.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't put on any drugs at all until 2019. So obviously, all that progression has kicked in a long time ago. So that's where I use crutches now. I'm not in a wheelchair, but I use crutches. So just to get about. When I'm in the house, it's just one crutch, but when I go outside, it's two crutches. But it definitely, I feel as if it has worked because I had a conversation with Dr. Fedorenko before I left. And I said to him, is it a success? Has it worked? And he just nodded, as if to say yes. So,
do you know the really lovely thing that he said to me?
Yeah.
That's why I remember it. Is he held my hand and he said, "I'll do the science. You do all the rest of the stuff. You do your yoga, you do your meditation." And that was the best advice I have to say out of everything.
Definitely. So he knew I was doing meditation because I was doing it while I was in Moscow. So I was just like, it's weird because you get the nurses; they're all lovely, every single one of them. I'm just meditating on the bed, just like you do, like I'm full in mantis pose, if that's what you call it, like leg crossed and all that goings.
Oh, you went all out. I was meditating, but I wasn't doing any poses. I kept getting told
No, it's different for everybody, but it's just what I feel comfortable in. So I was doing it my way, and the nurses, they're absolutely beautiful people, but they actually didn't understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
So just sort of manhandled me into a lying position. It's just like, okay, and it's like that's the way it is. And I thought, okay, thank you. Spasiba.
Spasiba. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was. When did I go? July 2019.
Right. Okay. So a bit before me, and
a little bit before you.
Yeah, it's. But how has it worked for you so far?
Well, I was told I'd be in a wheelchair by Christmas 2019, and I'm still not in a wheelchair and not planning on being.
Good. That's really good. Yeah, that's really good.
Little things like I couldn't bend my left leg, so I've seen videos, and when I was walking, I was swinging my leg out, and then I had
you got a swing gait, I think they got it.
Yeah. Well, I developed that, and I was curling my toes so that I didn't have to swing as far. So I've recorrected all of that. I can bend my knee now, after Moscow. So I'm learning to walk properly, however properly is.
Yeah. So how did you find the journey to Moscow? How was that?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was a bit because it was sort of like I was told you'll be in a wheelchair by Christmas. I'm really stubborn, so I was like, no, I'm going to have. And I went by fluke, really. A friend of a friend's sister had it, and she was like, that's what you need to have. And when you get diagnosed, everyone's like, you just need to eat more grapefruit. You need to, sing on a Tuesday in the rain, and they give you all these. Everybody becomes an expert around you, and you're like, okay, and it's like, well, I know something that works, and it's like, and it's like, well, if you contact this guy, they don't know, and it's like, and it was like, no, and so there's only two places I'm really interested in, and that's either Mexico or Moscow, and obviously. I chose Moscow because I did all my research, like everything about. You were so much better than me. I literally went along because she was friends, and her sister had her sister had HSCT, but in London, and she was like, "You've got to go to this meeting," and I was like, I didn't have anything better to do, so I went along to the meeting. And then I was thinking, oh, this is crazy. But this little Russian happy hippie man popped up. And he was just so lovely. He was saying we're all family. It wasn't the all the technical jargon. And I said to my friend, if I'm ever crazy, absolutely insane enough to have that treatment, I'm going to do it in Moscow. Yeah. And that was the start of it. Yeah. And then I saw my neurologist, and he said, you're going to be in a wheelchair. And I went, no, what about this stem cell therapy? And he was like, you're too far gone.
You have to be like that.
Yeah. It was like, you're too far gone. I was like, no, I'm not. And then I just started fundraising and just rammed in. I mean, because I
did exactly the same.
Did you do the same?
Yeah. And it's just like, obviously, because of the pandemic, you went before me, but the pandemic hit. And then that threw everything like out of the window as far as fundraising goes. So I thought, right, well, but what I did when I was diagnosed in 2014, I thought, well, I have to do something now. The NHS is not going to help me. That is sort of it's quite controversial, really, because they will help you. They will help you. They'll say they're going to help you all they want, but they actually, when it comes down to doing HSCT, they're not going to help you.
I suppose it is a fairly newish treatment, I guess. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, and also it's expensive. Yeah. Because you imagine, the way that I look at it is I sort of think I should have had that, straight away, and then I'd be running and I'd be doing this. But the way that I sort of look at it is the NHS have got a pocket of money, and they've got this many trillions of people. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like you said, it's a real controversial one. It's so difficult.
It is. I mean, because I always say in every podcast, I say I have nothing against the NHS themselves. As far as first line NHS are concerned, they are godsend. Yeah, definitely. I can't praise them enough. Yeah. But when it comes to something like we have, the MS situation, they don't really want to know. So they don't.
I think because there's no exact recipe. There's no exact. If you do this, then you have this, and then you take that. It's all going to be fine. Like lots of illnesses, you've got this drug, take that and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
But with MS, because it's, your brain, your spinal cord, and it could be anywhere. Yeah. Literally, they're given this person, they're like, it might make them really, really ill. It might not.
I've said this before on podcasts as well, but I said to my neurologist, I said, well, he wants me to be on a new drug. I'm like, that's Ocrevus. And I said, well, how long do you want me to be on this for? And he said, indefinitely. I said, well, for the rest of my life. And I was only 41 at the time. I'm 42 now. But I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, it costs, $60,500 every year. and you want me to be on it for the rest of my life. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So he said, well, yeah. And I was like, well, no wonder the NHS don't have any money. So it's
a rental rather than a buy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But then it comes into the whole pharmaceutical, that sort of...
Yeah. It is a very pharmaceutical driven, everything about MS and the drug behind it.
Yeah, most of them are.
Yeah.
Most of them are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, because when I got diagnosed initially, I was on, I think, beta-ferron, Avonex, and then I just slowly kept getting worse and worse and worse. Yeah. And then I went on Tysabri, and I knew it wasn't working. I went from, walking to walking with a stick, walking with 2 walking poles, to struggling to walk. And I was like, this isn't working. And then they were, and that was when the doctor said, you're going to be in a wheelchair. There's nothing, you've turned to the next, there's nothing we can do. No. And because I'd hidden my MS for so long, I'd hidden it for like over a decade, I think, because I work with clients and I didn't want people to, not be able to say to me, I've had a really bad day, I bumped my head, because I'm one up.
From what you're saying, it sounds like a rerun of everything I've done in the past. I work in video games, so I can sit down in a chair, so it's not too bad, but I did try and hide it still. Yeah. So, and I was doing things like boxing and things like that at the time. I was quite active.
Yeah.
So,
because I was training to be a fitness instructor, so I'm probably I was like super, super top of my game, and then it also.
I was just doing everything I could not to tell everybody. The complete opposite of what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But
it's so true, but I've got friends that've got different issues, and I've got no problem. But when it's yourself, it's so different, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I had to come out to raise the money. So literally, clients didn't have a clue, and then they were like, "Oh, I thought you had cramp." When I got up and stuff. And they were like, I can't believe you've hid it for so long. But I had to come out, because I suddenly needed to raise thousands and thousands. And people were really shocked because you become a master, don't you, of hiding.
Yeah. Yes, you do. You do.
A folder in your bag.
But it is, I think it's what you were getting at a minute ago. And it's there's a survival instinct that kicks in that makes you not only hide things, which is wrong, but it makes you trying to be the person that you were before.
Yes, exactly.
And not to show any weakness whatsoever. Yeah. And again, that's wrong. But
it is wrong. It is so wrong.
Yeah, but at the time, you just want to be normal. You want to be normal. That's it.
Yeah, I know. I started hiding away. I stopped going out. Me
too.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
and that's like I wrote because obviously I came back and I was in isolation in England after Russia for 3 months.
Oh yeah.
And then lockdown happened, so I had a lot of time. Because everyone's like, "Oh, I can't." And my D-Day was Halloween, so I could go out and play. And then we went into lockdown. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
So that's when I wrote my book, because I had a lot of time. So
you wrote it. You wrote a book.
Yeah. It's www.rose-tinted.me, and it's basically from the signs. So I don't know, it's probably backwards, is it? But that's from all the signs, all the diagnosis, all the different treatments I was on, because I thought it's not okay, like you said, for people to hide. And it was really good counselling for me, to get it all out. I started writing.
Yeah, but it's just getting it off your chest, if you like. So what you want to make, like the same reason why they do these podcasts, it's just to help other people. Because I remember being in the hospital and I was given the diagnosis. Obviously, you're a little bit shell-shocked, but at the time I was fine. I could stand up. I was still boxing. I was still doing mixed martial arts and stuff. Yeah. It didn't bother me at the time, but I knew it would get worse.
Because that's the only thing you're told, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got this, you're going to get worse.
Yeah, what they told me when I was in the hospital, they give me the diagnosis, which was like great. So like, you know, at the time, like I say, I was still fit, and you know, it didn't really bother me as such. I didn't really think anything of it. But they gave me a load of brochures, like holiday brochures, of pictures of people in wheelchairs. I said, "What? No."
Oh.
So, but what they didn't say is not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
And so they forgot to say that.
Yeah.
But obviously, because they're doing podcasts and things like that, I know that now. But
but that people don't know, and I think it is the awareness, and that's why, that's why I ended up writing the book, because I look back and I thought, I can't believe I've hidden it for so long, and I was like, stop doing things. And so in the book, I literally put all of my shames, so literally everything that I thought I would never tell anyone about this, I wrote it there, because there's people that were where we were, you know, now, and it's almost like saying it's okay, you're not on your own, because no one wants to admit half the stuff that we have to go through.
No, I think like you writing that book that you just showed me a minute ago, I think that's amazing, because it's going to help somebody.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Just having conversations like this one, it's just saying, look, you're not on your own. There's other people that have been there and done it.
Yeah.
And you know, there is a way out of it. And not to say HSCT is for everybody, but it's just say, you know, it's not the death warrant that you think it is. There's ways out of it. It's only
there are
because
options. I think people need to understand it's not like that's it, you're going to be a wheelchair, that's the end of your life. It doesn't work like that. But that's you know, that's how, if someone says, oh, MS, unless you know anything about it, it is like you just think, you know, like the pamphlets, that's people in wheelchairs, that's you know, that's the end. But it's not. You just adapt, you know, and there are other things you can try, and
you adapt, you find out what you can do about it. I did every bit of research in the world because I didn't know a thing about it. And obviously, the first thing you shouldn't do is go on Google and type in MS.
That's the worst thing.
So you're gonna get the busy just scared out of you completely.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
go on.
My friend's mum had MS, and she got a this is when I was 15, and she got a diagnosis, and then she went into a wheelchair. She basically gave up. So when they said to me, "You've got MS," I was like, "Oh." Because I remember saying to her, let's go out for a walk. And she said, I can't, I've got MS. And I was like, come on, I'll push you today. And then when they said that to me, I thought, that's karma, because I used to try and get her to come out, you know. But unfortunately, she passed away not long after. But I do really think that she sort of gave up, which is, you know, and that's why they say, like, the MS warriors. It is, you have to keep fighting and just, it's
like
hard.
Like I was saying a minute ago, there is a sort of... Like I said before, like I was doing boxing and mixed martial arts and things like that. I wouldn't say it's a fight that you have, but like a physical fight. It's not that. It's supposed to inner fight that you have to do what you can to get better, or at least stop it from where it is. So So and I think that achieved that by going to Moscow. So.
Yeah, well, I just got an MRI, and they said I think it was a new neurologist. I don't know if I can say new neurologist, and she said you've got no lesions. So she said by now we would expect something. So she says whatever you did, it seems to have done the trick. And I'm like, excellent, that's lovely. There was nothing we could do, and now suddenly 2 years later, it has halted it. You know, so so
that's
from
right.
nothing to.
Yeah. I mean, I got a phone call while I was in Moscow. I sat there on the hospital bed in Moscow, and my neurologist rang me, and he says, I said, where are you? I said, I'm in Moscow. He said, oh, you went? I said, yeah, I did. So he said, yeah, it's all done. It's all done. It's over with. He said, well, we'll have to give you an MRI when you come back. I said, I'm fine with that. So went to the hospital, had the MRI, and that was around about sort of February, March last year. And I've only just now got the results of that, which turns out to say there is no new lesions.
Good.
There's no new lesions, and there's no enlarging of the area. So it was like,
fabulous.
cool,
Congratulations.
So and it's like, you don't get a certificate when you've had HSCT to say, you're fine now. And so, but it was as good as, it was good as that. So, the neurologist is not going to accept HSCT as working. He's not. Yeah. So it's just not that. I don't think they're that far developed yet to think of HSCT.
It's becoming a bit more, with things like your podcast and my book. I think it's becoming a bit more.
No, I think exactly. the more people do like yourself with your book and the podcast, doing every little thing anybody can do just to raise awareness is a good thing.
And it's not saying, like we were talking about earlier, it's not saying HSCT is the way forward. It's saying that there are options, don't just think that's the end. It's not the end. And you're still who you are. I think lots of people forget that they are still them. They just happen to have MS. They're still the same person in there, which, that's really difficult.
Even when you yourself have to make the decision that this is something that you want. So it's not, it's not when I thought HSCT is what I need. But there's a kind of there's a fight still left in me, and I don't mind fighting for that if I need to. So, and it's just like, we'll go to Moscow. I mean, that's difficult itself because you're flying to an unknown area by yourself. Because I don't know what Anastasia told you, but she said she wanted me to fly out on my own.
Yeah.
So. I got people helping me and things like that, but it's just it's still daunting to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they were just so beautiful, weren't they? The people were so lovely. I literally jumped so many bullets. The scan in Moscow said that I just turned to secondary progressive, so I caught it just in time. Brexit. So to get the money transferred, I managed to miss Brexit. What else? COVID. I got back 3 months before COVID hit, and then everything that's going on with Russia now, I managed to avoid all that. But unfortunately, you were quite recent, weren't you? So you had to deal with. Yeah,
it's like January, February this year. So it's really quite recent.
Yeah,
and it's just recovering. So I'm doing everything I can to help it in whatever way I can. I bought a multi-gym back home, so just to keep me, exercises and stuff like that. I got a physio every week, just to do whatever you can, to help it.
Yeah, so, definitely.
I mean, there's things like MS Gym that you can get online. And so I've been doing that as well. That's quite
fantastic. Good. Yeah, really good.
Like I say, it's just doing whatever you can. So,
I go to the MS therapy centre and I have oxygen once a week, and then I go to the group physio with them as well. So and it's a social thing, and it is the awareness and knowing that it's not just you on your own. No. And that's quite nice to have that.
Yeah. So how have you been since you've been back a while now? So how's things not progressed? That's the wrong word, but how's things
changed? I suppose.
The recovery. How's the recovery been for you?
Well, I had at one point, I'm thinking back now, I had these really weird back pain, like shooting back pains. I don't know if it was like, did they say bone pain? That was hideous. That lasted briefly. The kids said that my cooking is much better. After the chemo, in fact, my taste buds have changed. So the kids said that I can cook now. So that's quite nice. And little things like my fine motor skills are better than they were, so it's little things that people don't notice. My motor skills, like
your motor skills in your hands.
So
because I'm obviously at my desk now, and I work at home, but I work in the video games industry, and I have to use a mouse and a keyboard all the time. And I found that after HSCT, I could do that. Whereas before,
Brilliant.
I had to use my left hand. I'm right-handed naturally.
Oh,
I had to use my left hand to stop shaking.
right.
So my left hand didn't shake as much as my right. And I had to use everything with my left hand. It was horrible. But now I can use my right hand to use the mouse and then keyboard.
Amazing. It's really good. That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's the things like that people don't see, because they'll still see me walking with a stick. But I'm like, I can do loads. I have improved. I'm not running, but, I have had improvements, and I would do it over again, definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's a couple of people are saying now they're quite, well, I wouldn't say against HSCT, but it's not worked for them, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's really sad. But it's just like, I mean, what would I do in that situation? I'm just like, well, I'd just keep going. I wouldn't
find something else.
So
yeah, and it's horrible when it doesn't work for people, but there will be something that they can try. Whether it's diet, whether it's a certain, I don't know, there's got to be something that's got to work for everyone. It's just finding, and it's trial and error. And
it is. It's a lot of money as well. It's a lot of money, but it's kind of like you kind of investing in your life, basically. So I don't want to be in a wheelchair. So it's my mindset just to not be in a wheelchair and do whatever I could to not be in a wheelchair.
I think that sounds it's
weird,
your mind. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, definitely. It's your mindset. And if you, and I understand why people are miserable. Of course, you've got this horrible thing that you shouldn't really, it's not fair.
Yeah.
But if you can, even like find humour in the ridiculous things, it makes it a lot easier to cope.
Yeah. That's it. But you have, I've got quotes all over me walls downstairs, and it's just to say, things like keep going, basically. And it's just like, it is that. It's telling yourself to keep going. And it's like, do not stop. Keep going.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that comes from boxing, really. But it's just like, but it's something that's I've already instilled in my head a long time ago. So I thought, why should I lose that? So.
Yeah. I think humour's my favourite tool, really. Definitely humour. If you can laugh at yourself, I mean, one of the first things was my leg was going the wrong way. I was trying to walk forward and my left leg was going backwards instead of forward. And I literally just laughed and sat down. And I was just like, what can you do if your leg's going the wrong way? And it's like, you can't, it literally looked like I was something out of a comedy sketch, but I could have just cried, but I just laughed because,
that's all you can do. I mean, it's like, I always say this as well, when it comes to, I always post things online and stuff like that. It's just funny. People don't know how to take it because they've got MS.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm just being funny. You can laugh. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, just because I get MS doesn't mean I'm, I'm not immune to laughter and things like that. No, it's the opposite. So, I think you have got...
Oh, bless you, you poor thing. I'm all right. I'm still me. I just happen to have MS.
Exactly it.
But still, I'm still who I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still me. I've still got a kooky sense of humour. It's like, everybody's different, but it's just like you just said, I'm still me. It's just your way of saying it.
Yeah, definitely.
It is good. It's really good to hear from somebody that it has worked and you are doing well with it. And it's just...
Yeah, no, I'm just so grateful and so grateful because, I mean, so many people donated, strangers. The first person that donated was a kid that I went to school with when I was 11. And then my son actually says, oh, there might be stuff in this, this karma thing and being kind that you talk about, because literally strangers were donating, people that I never met, never heard, I was just so lucky, so many. It makes you think, actually, people do care. Strangers do care, and it's just... Definitely. Keep going. It's to keep...
How did you find things when you were in Moscow? So, I mean, obviously you avoided the whole pandemic thing, But I was put in a room straight away. It wasn't a hospital. It was a separate room.
Okay.
And they didn't sell me. It was only temporary. But, I mean, it's not like they can't speak English. They can speak English. It's just like, it's not, unless it's specific words, they don't really use them. So, and it's like, well, basically what they should have told me is a temporary thing while you tested for COVID. So, so they did the COVID test on me again because I've had it so many times.
Right, yeah.
And then I just had to wait, and then it was only a day later where I could go in the main hospital.
Right.
But when I did that, I met everybody else in the hospital too.
Yeah.
So, and there's so many good people there. So,
it's incredible, and it did seem like the people are so lovely, and you have your own little family, and you know.
Yeah, you do.
Going through it with you, they're just.
Well, yeah. And I thought it's just like it's like a multinational group of people. They're from all over the world. I think you had Omar from Kuwait, you had Asia from France, and you know I wouldn't speak to you normally, but you're all in the same boat.
Yes, and you have a bond, don't you, that you can't have with anyone else.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and I mean the thing. When I walked into there was people with things hanging out their neck, and that was the first, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then
I think it's like somebody told me, said, "Oh, give it a name." I said, "What do you mean, give it a name?" I said, "Like, give it a name." So I don't know. I just called it. I was just like because it jangles about a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, the wagglers.
It's rigid at first, and then it jangles about a bit. So I just called it Jimmy Jangles. So
wicked.
So that's it. And I just said that I did videos like every other day. I'd do a video just to say how I'm doing. But I think we're going to do like a YouTube video just to say the process all the way through.
Brilliant.
But that's just because I'm not a writer like yourself, so. I wouldn't know where to start with a book. So, but I think it's great that you've done a book.
I think it was just when I was little, I was like, I'm going to be a writer. Yeah. But then suddenly I was in lockdown, and then I thought, because you have a lot of time, when I was in the 3 months here, and then obviously in lockdown suddenly, I had a lot of time to think, and I thought, I need to, come out, because I had to come out to fundraise. And then it's not okay that people, feel alone and don't want to talk about the pains they have or the embarrassing stuff that happens. Yeah. And so I thought if I just write it down, people would go, oh, so it's not just me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I don't know if
that's
I'm
really good.
I suppose I'm an author now, but it feels a bit like I just wrote down what I thought.
I think it's amazing what you've done. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
I hope that's the main aim. So I just need to get it out there more and tell more people. So hopefully.
Do you think you'll have a follow-up book just to say how you're doing now, or?
Yeah, I might. I mean, I've got loads of stories in my head. As a theatre student, so I've got thousands of stories in my head. And I absolutely loved writing it. And it was cathartic. I love that word. It was really cathartic because I didn't have counselling. When they offered me counselling for MS, I was like, no, I'm fine. Yeah. But, going through all the things, I think half of it was hiding from myself. So I literally, at some points in the book, I was crying and I was like on my typewriter and I had to wait until I stopped crying. But a lot of it is just humour.
Is that just emotion coming out onto the
well, it's all the stuff that I hid, because I was hiding it from everyone else, but I think I was hiding it more from myself because I didn't want to admit that I had this this problem and that my legs weren't working and I couldn't get anywhere quickly and I couldn't do because I was doing beep tests and I was doing combat training and I was doing all that and then suddenly, do you know what I mean? I've gone from doing that to no, do you know what I mean? I'm struggling to walk up the road, so I think a lot of it for me,
I think it's a lot for anybody to take, say, oh, I could do this before and now I can't, and it's it's a big change for you to take.
Yeah, definitely.
But if your book explains what you went through, I mean, that's going to help somebody else.
And a lot of it is humour. Because I did sort of take the mick out of myself because it's like, how else are you going to deal with it? And it's like...
I completely agree with that. You have to. And it's just like, you know, I always say, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry. And it's like, I don't cry. So, you know, I need an outlet of something. So I just laugh. So,
laughter is brilliant.
Yeah.
Laughter is brilliant.
You know, if I have a tumble or something like that, I just pick myself up and laugh it off. I don't really, not everybody can do that. But
my friend,
you know,
she's fantastic. I mean, when we used to do the beep test, I used to always beat her. And and then it got to a point, obviously my walking was bad. So if we were in town, she'd have to like hold me up and help me walk and like, carry my bag. And then I used to sort of say, don't forget I can beat you in the beep test. And she was like, I know. Obviously it was years before, but I was like, and then when I kept falling over, she made me some plasters, like with silly faces on. And so she brought these plasters around and she goes, so we can celebrate your falls now. And I was like, oh, it's a real sweetie.
You know, you have to keep that humour all the way through it.
Humour's fantastic.
You can't, you know, I always say, like, you know, you have to have the humour with it. You know, otherwise you just roll over and die. I don't do that anyway. So it's just give up. No, don't do that. So,
I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Don't give up.
Yeah, that's it. It's just always, like I say, the quotes on the wall downstairs, you know, every one of them, it just means something. And it's like, I can... You know, they're all in my head, and you know, I know it just keeps me going.
That's good.
Keeps me going.
Yeah, that's really good. It's so important to stay. I mean, it sounds cliche, but staying positive is really important.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Dr. Ferenko said. He said three things. I think is like one's positivity, stay positive all the way through it. When it's good food.
Yeah.
Good food, and I can't remember the third one, but it was all things that I was doing anyway. So you know, I'm quite happy with that.
So, I think it seems that everyone that went has the same sort of frame of mind. You know, all very positive. All. I mean, there's a bit in the book that talks about the Russian lullaby, because it was I call her Fairy Olga. She sang to me, and she was singing to me while she was taking out the tubing from my neck, and I just cried. You know, all the tears came. My pillow was soaked, and she was singing like a Russian lullaby, and I was just like, oh my gosh! And it was just so beautiful. It was so lovely. Yeah,
I'd never heard that, to be honest. So they didn't do that to me.
No, I think they sort of thought, because I was like, because I went and my friend took me out there, and I said I want to be left on my own because I want to deal with it myself. I don't want to be worrying about someone else in Russia, you know, which sounds crazy, but I was like, I don't want to have to worry about anyone else. I want to focus on me. So I think
you have to be like that.
I think lots of people had people with them, so I think they were a bit like, oh, she's on her own. So I think maybe I got a bit more attention, because Dr. Fedorenko kept checking my blood pressure, although I realised that he never actually looked at the machine. So he was checking that I was okay. So there's a whole section about Russia in the book. It's just
Dr. Fedorenko. He came into the room. I'd say like every other day he'd come and just set up blood, and you know, just go away and do what he has to do. And, you know, I've said, you're like a pincushion anyway, because of the drugs that you have. So I'm just like, just hold my arm out like that, and it just gets on with it.
I always had it in my neck. Just whacking stuff in my neck all the time.
Well, so they put the tubes in your neck, and it's just like they could connect something, like one of the tubes, they could connect wherever they needed to get the blood from it.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to inject me all the time.
Yeah, I was like you. I was meditating, and then suddenly there'd be someone injecting stuff into my neck. And
that's like I said before. I was meditating, and I got one of the nurses come in. Like I said, they're all lovely. Yeah. But basically manhandled me into a lying position, and it's like basically doing jiu-jitsu on me, and like in bed. I'm like, just kind of. Again, you just laugh it off. You can't, you know, you just help them in any way you can, but just can't understand why they're doing it.
I think my favourite bit is the washing in vodka. I absolutely love that. I think people didn't believe me.
Yeah,
I was like, it's lucky I don't drink vodka, otherwise I
Yeah,
I would have had all that.
Yeah, I had the vodka bed bath and things like that. I just didn't understand it at first, but they didn't like the fact that I was using the crutches to go to the toilet on my own.
Right.
They didn't like that at all. They wanted me to wear a nappy all the time.
Yeah.
And I just I don't need to do it. I can just use my crutches and go to the toilet.
Yeah.
No. It was like yeah. And it's like no, they want me to wear this nappy, and I was like, oh, God. So I have to wear nappy and all that kind of stuff. So I just let them do what they do. So
yeah, see, I was really anti-catheter because I was like, I've never needed a catheter. I'm not having a catheter. But obviously, when you're having chemo, you're rigged up. You've got 8 loads of goop being pumped into you. Yeah. And like one time I was trying to get to the loo and I fell over, and then like Dr. Fedorenko basically begged me to have this catheter put in, and I was like, I don't want one. But then the nurses are like little secret ninjas, aren't they? The way that they move and they come and change it, and you don't even realise, and you're like, okay. Yeah. And I sort of think that they know what they're doing. You know, if I have to have a catheter for a few days, you know what? Yeah, so
you just have this like thing in your head, like because like my parents, or my dad more specifically, he was absolutely petrified of me being in Moscow on my own.
Yeah.
So like, well, I know what you're thinking of in your head because you're like a baby boomer basically. So you'll have a Cold War in your head straight away and think that it's cold all the time. Yeah. And the hospital was room temperature all the time.
Yeah.
So I think there's once, and I'm so sorry I didn't get a picture of it. I was asked if I wanted a picture of it. I just didn't do it. I was just overwhelmed at the time, but somebody wrote in the snow, because it was snow at the time, and they wrote in the snow, you may have a MS, but MS does not have you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was beautiful.
Really good.
But I forgot to take a picture of it. And it was obviously somebody else in the hospital somewhere else that had wrote that in the snow. So... But it just showed you there's a massive community of people all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Just helping each other out. And I think at one point we did go out to, there's like a chapel or something like that. There's like a religious chapel. Yeah. So we went there and, again, overwhelmed. And, I was more bothered about being able to stand up in the snow and things like that. But it was fine. It was
I was in July, so it was nice. I was expecting to be freezing cold, and I presumed that everyone wore woolly hats.
Yeah,
I was in July.
I took like desk stock hats and everything. So it just wasn't needed.
Yeah,
but it's just how it was. But it was a very, very positive experience. It wasn't. There's nothing like the Cold War that people have in their head. It's not like that at all. It's an amazing place, a really amazing place.
It's incredible. And it's Russia is not anywhere that I would think, I want to go to Russia.
No, me neither.
Well, obviously not with what's going on, but it was just the people were so lovely. They were just so kind. Just such a beautiful place.
Yeah, I really do want to go back when I'm a little bit better than I am now.
Yes.
I'm still on crutches and things like that, but doing the physio and doing what I can.
Just day by day.
Just eating well, like Fedorenko said, and just do everything like that. Just do everything I can to help it.
Yeah, that's good.
But I do want to go back, and like you just said, it's. Have to wait till the war is over and things like that. So, it's a shame that's the way it is now. I think I think people still can go to Pirogov. They still can go, but they have to go a really awkward way about it. Like go to Morocco or something like that.
At one point, people were going via Turkey, but I don't know if they can do that now. I know that Anastasia was putting up different posts to move from, to where to get in. I think lots of people are going to Mexico at the moment.
Yeah, because I can be honest. I mean, Mexico would be like I say, it was just it was two options for me: Mexico or Moscow.
Yeah.
Now I've had Dr. Ruiz on the podcast before, and he is Mexico, basically.
Yeah.
If it wouldn't have been Moscow, it had definitely been Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think, now because of the situation, I think a lot of people will do that.
Heading over to Mexico, yeah.
But the thing is, and I think it's important to say that they exactly the same protocol as Russia.
Yeah.
So everything, including cyclophosphamide and fludarabine, I think it is, that they inject into you now. That's what they put into me before, when I was in chemo.
Rituximab? Is that what that's what I heard.
Rituximab, and they put rituximab, fludarabine, and obviously cyclophosphamide, which is the chemo. And that's what they give you. And, when I read about people like people in America, in Chicago, and you get Selma Blair, and she had the same sort of situation, but I think their version of it is a bit more sort of aggressive. So it's more of an aggressive chemotherapy. But the thing is, when I spoke to Fedorenko, and I told him about Selma Blair and what she's had, and the whole thing with Chicago, and he said, well, that they do have a much more aggressive version of the chemotherapy.
Oh, really? See, I thought the Russian one was. Actually, I haven't looked into it. You know all the terminology, so you're much better than me. But I was because I thought Russia was a bit more aggressive, but obviously not.
No, I think because I spoke to Fedorenko, and he says he's got it because he's been doing it 20 odd years. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I think that a lot of people don't know that. And you see all the doctors and things like that you meet in England now, and like Fedorenko is way, way, way beyond what they know.
Like the king of MS, isn't he?
Yeah. So he really knows his stuff, and he said he's got his regimen of the drugs and things like that, like down perfectly. So it's exactly what you need, rather than like overdosing, which you do in Chicago and makes you really sick with the chemotherapy. Wow. But Fedorenko was like saying, no, he's got it in such a way now that he's happy with. Yeah. And, like I say, it's a cyclophosphamide, which is a norm. Another one is a fludarabine. That was new when I was there. That was only just been introduced.
That one, yeah.
But it's basically tailoring it like that, so it's just enough. So it's not. It's enough to give you what you need, but not overdo it.
Yeah. Even with the food, because before I was doing I was trying to be gluten free, I was trying to be dairy free, and then I went to Moscow and I was like, I don't know what this orange thing is. I'm not sure what this red goop is, but do you know what? I'm just going to go with it because these people know.
I've had that conversation on podcasts before as well, and it's just like. I would say I'm a bit worried about the food because it's just a bit lacking a bit. But there's plenty of other people that have been on the podcast that say, "Oh, you're not going for that anyway." So
it's true. Someone said to me, "Take cinnamon."
Someone said to me, exactly right. It's so right. You're not going for food. And the food when I went there is basically. Like a lot of people have done with the MS situation, they change the diet to help it in some way. It might be the Walls diet, or it might be another diet that I was on. And it's just like you basically becoming a vegan overnight. You're just doing whatever you can to help it. And so I still am, to be honest. It's like it's just stuck. So I do that. But Fedorenko was like, no, you don't have to do that anymore. It's like you can eat what you want. I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, so at the table, and I said, like, and then like a plate of beef came. So I've not eaten red meat in years.
Right.
And it's just like like a patty of beef was there, I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that.
That's it.
And
But when she started eating it, and knowing, because Fedorenko said, no, you can't eat it now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
I mean, at first I was like, I'm not sure about this. But then, after that, I was like scratching at the door because I was like, give me my apples and my beef and my orange scoop, please.
No, it's it does concern you at the time because you've got yourself into this mindset that you have to do this and you have to do that. You can't eat this and you can't eat that. And that Fedorenko said, no, you throw that out the window. We don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that was it. So what's next for you anyway?
Oh, that's a good question. Conquer the world, possibly.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, I was like, I've done everything. I don't know. I mean, I'm still doing the same work. So I'm a holistic therapist. So I do massage, reflexology.
Okay.
That's the thing. I want to push the book more. And then I might do... I've got other millions of stories in my head because I'm a drama student. It's all in there. So because I can't be on the stage, at least I can write stuff down. So I'll write another book. I don't know. I'm hoping that the book will help a lot of people. I might go into, don't know, maybe I was thinking about life coaching. Everyone's doing that at the moment. But I was like, I don't know. No idea.
I mean, but the point is that you don't feel held back by your condition.
No, not at all. Not at
all.
So
it's really good what you're doing, and I think what you've done so far as well with the book, and just going for HSCT in general, which is a big situation that you've been through. Yeah, and you're obviously you're speaking fine and things like that. There's no slurring or anything like that. I was worried about that. I was really worried about that. And it's just like I've been on the like Zoom calls with work and stuff like that, and it's like, no, you're fine. So
I need to become friendly with technology because I'm a bit of a technophobe. So I'm scratching my way slowly into the 21st century, trying. So I think I need to get a hang of that. Maybe I need to do some sort of computer courses, but. Yeah, I'm a bit old school, but
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I am really old. I've got a diary that's falling apart. All my appointments are in my diary, and I'm a bit, but slowly.
No, I really think like what you're doing with the book and things like that. And, your plans moving forward, like to see and conquer the world. I think that's amazing. And
I think the point is just don't stop, like you said. Just because you've got MS, don't stop. Keep going.
It shows me something that I think a lot of people with MS do get, which is resilience. Yeah, and they are resilient at everything. It's like, I mean, when I had MS, and well, I still have MS technically, but and it's just like you have to preempt everything you do because you have to think, okay, how far is it from the toilet? How far is it from the? How far
it's true.
Yeah.
And the book, I talk a lot about that because that was a big thing, Yeah. And I mean, the hair, obviously having chemo for a woman losing your hair, I think it is a bit more difficult for a woman. I was petrified. But actually, it wasn't as bad because there was a team of people and apparently I've got a decent head shape. So it wasn't, it's like anything. The unknown is much more frightening.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, if I didn't do as much research as you, I was pretty much like, right, I'm not going to be in a wheelchair. What can I do? Right, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I did fib a few times to people and said, I've done loads of research. I sort of did a bit, but probably not as much as. But then I don't think if I'd have done as much, I probably wouldn't have done it if I'd have read all the ins and outs.
No, but if you do too much, you can worry yourself and talk yourself out of things.
Yeah.
But it's like I got to see the neurologists and things like that. They try and talk you out of it. And it's just like, I'm just, no.
And that's it. And you need to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah.
But if anyone's interested, the book, I'll give the website. It's www.rose-tinted.me. And then there's a bit apparently on there. I've got my friends done it all for me. But if people want me to write something in or sign it, I can do that.
If you can do me a favour and just do I don't just do a messenger or something like the link to it or things like that.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be amazing.
Is it in Amazon or anything like that?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon and you can get it on Kindle as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay, just any links that you can send me, I'll definitely have a look.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. No, but I think it's amazing what you've done. And thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate being part of it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got a lot to offer people, and whether it's just doing something like this or whatever, but you're showing what you've done, and there is a way. It's not like it's just because the door's shut in your face doesn't mean it's the end. It's
definitely.
You can keep fighting on, and I don't mean physical fight. I mean like mentally fight.
Yes,
that's
the big thing. It's keep your head in a good place. I think that's the most important thing, and I know that can be really difficult at times because sometimes it is really tough. You and I know it can be so tough, but it's just trying just to keep going and
it's just doing whatever you can. It's whatever you can. If it doesn't work, which is a case for a lot of people recently, saying HSC doesn't always work, and no, it doesn't. But you have to be honest with yourself and say this might not work, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
Yeah,
and that's all I can do.
And try something else. Just keep, and I think it's don't give up. I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Keep trying to find out what will work for you, because something will work.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
So
absolutely. But no, honestly, thank you so much for being part of this podcast, and I wish you all the best of luck in the world with your books, and
thank you so much.
What you're doing moving forward, and you're traveling the world, so.
And you need to rest.
yeah. No, but honestly, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.